What's up? Welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today we're going to talk about Nobody Wants This. It's a series review. This is a series that dropped on Netflix. It stars Kristen Bell and Adam Brody, and it does have audio description, and I think it's the best romantic comedy we have of the year. I haven't seen a film that qualifies to be able to. It's weird to say that this might be the rom-com of 2024, but it's a series. I don't think that's ever happened before, where you're like, well, what was the best romantic comedy of the year? This TV series. Usually there's a movie where you're like, oh yeah, that movie really worked for me, and I'm like, I don't know that there is a movie like that this year. I mean, I'm not going to say there isn't one that's coming out later on, or I think this surpasses anything that has attempted to come out thus far that's been in that genre. Been sort of a little bit of a dearth of rom-coms. We haven't had a really great one in a hot minute, but this is definitely, yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of Anyone But You. It was okay. It was okay. I know some people thought that like that revived romantic comedies, but I think this is better. I think this is better than Anyone But You. It's about Kristen Bell is a podcaster who does a podcast with her sister, and they talk a lot about like sex and relationships, and their podcast is exploding, and they're about to sign a big deal, and really transition to the next level of podcasting. I see these things that I think about, and I'm like, it would be nice. I have like 318 subscribers. I'd love to be flirting with the idea of somebody picking me up for something and being like, we'd like to have a conversation with you about moving you to the next level. I'd be like, oh my God, really? The conversation? You want a blind film critic who talks about audio description to move to the next level? We've moved along in society, No, apparently I have to have something about sex and relationships and talk about that instead. So, yeah. So she's in the position. Hasn't really had a lot of luck with love. And the other main character here, Adam Brody, is a rabbi. So not the normal lead for a romantic comedy, but he's a young rabbi. He's not the main rabbi of his temple. He's I'm not Jewish, so I don't know like the hierarchy, but I just know he's not the main rabbi. I don't know I don't know what his direct position is, or in the relation or hierarchy of things. So he's not. It's part of the thing is that he might one day be the head rabbi, is a thing, but he is a rabbi for now, like the number 2 maybe rabbi. So after there's a chance encounter where they meet and sparks happen, and she finds out he's the rabbi. She goes to temple and sees him do his work, and everybody's like, who's this shiksa in the bag? And he goes back and they talk, and sort of as the series progresses, so does their relationship, and they meet each other's friends and family, and we get to see some of those friends and family. Notably on his side, I would say his side has more notable family members. We have legends like Tovah Feldsha, who's in here. So is Paul Ben Victor, I think, play his parents, but he also has a brother played by Timothy Simons from Veep, who is excellent in this series, by the way. And his wife, Esther, is played by Jackie Tohn, who I always have. I love when I see her in things, because I remember American Idol doesn't do enough to like remind people of where people started. like where they got their start. Jackie Tohn was a semifinalist on American Idol. She made it to like the voting rounds, and she since has been in several films and movies. Some films and television shows. Films and movies are the same thing. She was a series regular on Glow, which was one of my favorite Netflix shows, and sadly did not get to complete its third season, and they just scrapped it during the pandemic. They were like, nah, nobody's going to wait forever for a final season of a show, but we'll make them wait forever for the final season of Stranger Things. People will wait forever for that. I don't think that shit's coming out till like 2030. I don't know. It's gonna be by the time. I think they're waiting until they're doing like Boyhood, and they're waiting for everybody to like age up, and then introduce that they have kids. 11. By the time the new Stranger Things comes out, 11's gonna have a family of her own. Her kids will be named 12, 13, and 14. Anyway, yeah. So. This is it's got a cute cast. It's a nice little supporting cast full of people. Sherry Cola pops up. She's a friend of Kristen Bell's character, so I thought that was fun. I think she's got a budding career ahead of her. For the people who are like, I don't want Awkwafina, but I want somebody to like Awkwafina. Oh, Sherry Cola's available. So I always enjoy Sherry's work. I think she's very underutilized in the series. So if the series, I can't see Netflix not picking this up for a second season. It's gotten a lot of buzz. Its first week out on Netflix was really hot. Like everybody just binged these 10 episodes and just knocked it out. They were, I've seen enough podcast episodes and people just going crazy online. So I think it's gonna, the word of mouth. This should be like the next Emily in Paris for them. I hate to compare it to that because I think it's a better show, but where it just becomes like maybe like the little show that could, and it ended up being more popular than people might have thought. I didn't think Netflix really did a great job of promoting this ahead of time. Yeah, way better than I ever expected from something like this. And like I said, I do think it's like the best romantic comedy I've seen in years. Adam Brody and Kristen Bell's chemistry is fantastic. The writing here is sharp. It feels like something that was written by like Nora Ephron. You know what I'm saying? Like it has like classic RomCom vibes to it. The setups are really well done. I don't really have any complaints. I like the supporting characters. I like how we're able to develop them over a short period of time. I like the fact that this show is about them from the beginning. Like, it's a romantic comedy from the beginning. So sometimes when you get into a sitcom that's about a concept, and then you get a couple, and it's like the will they or won't they, there's always about that moment where it's like, well, when do you pull the trigger? Because if you pull it too early, sometimes it kills a show. And you see shows that are trying to have that balance of will they or won't they? And stuff like, you know, the Jim and Pam thing, right? Went on forever in The Office. And with them, like, expressing their feelings, but then not. And then, you know, we got to introduce new love interests and bring them in. And Abbott Elementary is having the same sort of situation with their characters also. The will they or won't they, where they're like, I don't know, are we... I think we're going to finally at the end of the second season. Feels like we're always going to be, you know, I mean, is it too early? I don't know. We'll find out, you know, as we head into the next season, whether or not, like, where do we go now? Does it work? Is it weird? Did we make it weird? You know? But from here, basically, you can tell that the whole thing is about them. So even if this was like a multi-season show, and at some point they got engaged and they got married, you could see them just sort of exploring their relationship still. Like, I feel like there's still room because the whole thing is about their relationship. Just starting from the beginning and working their way through. It's not about the will they or won't they. It's about when will they, you know? I don't think this series works as a will they or won't they, because there isn't a won't they as an option. It's all about how long is it going to take to get there, and are we going to maybe see things afterwards? We're going to see what life is like, what their married life is like, and that kind of dynamic. Where could this series go? What is the possibility for it? So I like the audio description here. Forgot who did it, but I think it's Betty Capone. I think did the narrate wrote or did the narration here. That's the name that I remembered, but I don't know. IDC and DVW do so much audio description that sometimes I get the companies mixed up. One of them did it. I think Betty Capone was one of the names, either writing or narrating. You would think after watching 10 episodes and hearing it right at the end that I would have it. I watch too much TV and movies, and I hear too many names. And ever since I started working in audio description, I'm trying actually to pay a little bit less attention. I know that doesn't make any sense to names and stuff because I don't want any influence to come in. I don't want it to feel like, well, he's giving that because he works for that, you know? So I'm not trying to do that. Everything I have is honest. And I just really enjoyed the show. I thought it was a breath of fresh air, in terms of like, where does the series go? I was thinking about that because I was like, I want to give this show an A because like spiritually, I feel like that's where it needs to be. And I don't think I've seen really a show that's like this, that has been just a romantic comedy that's worked this well. I think this is almost blazing a new trail. And yes, it lives in an era of shows like The Bear and Shogun and things that feel like, well, those are definitely A-level shows. Are you saying that this fluffy romantic comedy is on the same level? Kind of, yeah. Because when you think about like, these shows are all like kind of doing different things. And I always say it's not really fair to compare everything to shows that are nothing like it, you know, and to say that, well, because Citizen Kane exists, Kung Fu Panda cannot also have a high grade. It's like, well, did Kung Fu Panda do? I mean, like, they're aiming for two totally different audiences, doing two wildly different things. So I think nobody wants this is blazing a trail in this romantic comedy TV genre, where instead of us being introduced to two people who are in the show and then we spend the whole 5, 6, 8, 9, however long seasons run of the show going, oh, are they going to end up together? When are they going to kiss? Oh, I can't wait for them to kiss. It's just like from the beginning, you're like, oh yeah, I see where this is it. And it feels like a traditional rom-com. It feels like a movie. And it gave me very different vibes than I'd gotten before. And if this is a bright new future, I would love this. Like the shit that's happening on Emily in Paris where she keeps like dating different guys and it's like, is she ever going to end up with Gabrielle? Like that, that's old school sitcom. That's what I'm talking about. Like that's different. This feels fresh. And the freshness is what gives it the A. This feels like, I'm like, what can I compare it to? I'm like, I don't know if there's anything else that's just ever been like, well, here are the two. They're not together right now, but you can pretty much bet they're going to be. You know? We're not going to have them date other people. We're just going to head down this path and see what happens. And I enjoyed that. I thought it was fun. So, and it does actually end in a way where it's not a limited series. Like there could and should be a second season to the series. I don't know how many seasons, but definitely Netflix should renew this. So I'm excited. I think you should watch this if you haven't watched it already. I'm giving another ringing endorsement for the show. I definitely think it's going to be in the mix for the Emmys. I don't know about series, but I feel like Kristen Bell and Adam Brody should definitely be in the mix for actors. We'll see if both or either of them, maybe even Timothy Simons and Jackie Tohn, I feel like they both did good work, could be in the race as well. So we'll see, but this is a strong performer for Netflix. I'm going to give it an A. I'm going to do it. I know it's like, I get it. There's White Lotus and Euphoria and so many other shows. It's like, but there's nothing that's like this. This has its own lane, and it's in its own lane. I think it works really well, and I can't think of a reason to take points away from it. You know, there's nothing here where I was like, ooh, that didn't work for me, or oh, I didn't like that. Uh, yeah, I enjoyed every episode, all 10 episodes. So it's a breeze. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the other side.